This is just for entertainment purposes only and educational purposes only. If you're new here, welcome. If you're my previous subscribers, welcome my baby dinosaurs. And so if this video is way too fast for you, do not worry. You have many options. You can either put on closed caption. You can also rewind the video to your liking. If you guys also are viewing us on a mobile, tablet, or computer, you also have the luxury of actually changing how fast or slow you want the video to go, so in case you want to know that. And if you really want to read what I'm saying in the video, I'll show you how to open up a transcript in the description below. And also in the description, you'll also find all the questions that I will be covering in this video. And so we have a lot of information that I will cover, so do not worry, I got your back. And before we do begin, if you guys want to book a personal reading with me, you can find it at the bottom of the screen as well. And just also mark your calendar for the time. Today is January 5th, and I am recording this at 2:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, New York. So I will be going live tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, January 5th. I will be doing a reading on Georgia Senate races right before the poll closed at 7 p.m. to get the most accurate result. And so I hope to see you guys there as well. We have a lot of information to cover, so I am not going to waste your time. And so let's just take a quick look at what our first question is going to be. But first, I want to welcome you all to the Georgia's Ultimate Senate Update, where I cover a numerous amount of information in a short period of time. And so I just want to pull up. Right here, you'll find that this is the Georgia Senate map, right? This is the Senate map in the United States. As you can clearly see, if I make this a little bit bigger, the Democrats are at 48 to the Republican 50. Right now, Joe Biden has won the election. He is the president of the United States, who will be inaugurated on January 20th. And the Republicans do not have a vice president, which means that they need to win these two seats in order to win. Now you can see in the lighter colored blue, that is where the Democrats have flipped in favor of them from the Senate, from the Republican Party in 2020. And the same thing goes for the Republicans in the state of Alabama, which is light red, which has the Republican flip away from the Democratic Party. And so in Georgia, the Democrats need both states in order to win the Senate. And so just say, hypothetically, if I were to fill in, this is what the map will look like. The Democrats would be at 51 to 50 Republican, which means that the Democrats will have the majority and Kamala Harris will be a tiebreaker. Now you're asking, what happens if David Perdue wins and Raphael Warnock wins the Senate race against Kelly Loeffler? Well, the Republicans are at a clear majority. They have 51 to 49. Which means that Kamala Harris will not be the tiebreaker. So the Democrats really need the two seats. The Republicans only need one. And so this is why it's very crucial for both parties in order to win. So I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of that, and we're going to jump right into it. I apologize for that little graphic feature there. So let's jump right into it. We're not going to waste your time. So for the very first question, we're going to be asking, the Trump effect in Georgia. How does Trump affect the state of Georgia? Is it going to be in the Republican Party's favor? Spirit angels, tell me. What is Trump effect in Georgia? Okay, so as you look in here, you see here we have COVID-19, right? This is my COVID-19 card, the judgment. This looks like the Georgian flag, right? So this is the state of Georgia. Then underneath it, we have the Empress, which is Kamala Harris or Kelly Loeffler. And then we do have, this is Kelly Loeffler, right? Then here we have David Perdue. And on the left side, we have the Democratic Party, the Democrats' hopeful candidates, Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. So let's take a quick look at how would Trump affect these candidates. Spirit Angel, how would Donald Trump affect the race between David Perdue? How would Donald Trump affect it? Okay. How would Kelly Loeffler with Donald Trump affect her race? Can you show me what do we need to know about that with Kelly Loeffler and Donald Trump effect on that race? John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. How will Donald Trump affect their race? Will it be for the good or will it be bad? What do we need to know about this, Spears and Angels? Tell me. Can you show me some sort of guidance? Any cards? Okay. Can I take one more card? Okay, no, that's it. All right. So here we have is Georgia. Georgia's the Senate, right? This is the state of Georgia. Then here we have David Perdue. And the first two cards that we got were my Biden card and unpredictability. So what they're just telling me that David Perdue's seat is the one to watch for. Because that is the one that will make it or break it for the Biden campaign. And so that is something that Trump has been campaigning on, that if they want to allow socialism, don't give up David Perdue sort of thing. And it does look like it tightened the race for David Perdue. Now, looking at Kelly Loeffler, we have a loss here, lockdown, strength, and White House, or the Senate, so to speak. So we have here, there's a loss, right? There is a loss for Loeffler. Now, it's because of lockdown, the COVID-19 lockdown, the coronavirus will play a major role in that. The handling of the pandemic, the strength of the pandemic may be in her favor, whether or not the Democrats come out and vote. And we do have here, if they don't come out in large droves, it looks like they will win the Senate. They will maintain the Senate. Now, in terms of the Democratic Party, we have here the magician reverse, which means that they are not the Republican Party, but put. We have here betrayal. But then we have a lot of funding, so they are going to get a lot of money, and something's going to be revealed. That it was a lot more competitive than we thought. So it does look like it's going to be quite the fight. It's going to go back to the way Georgia used to have Democratic senators. So it does look like the past history of Georgia is going to play a major role when it comes to the Trump effect in Georgia. All right. Now, the next question that we want to ask is, will we see a Republican or Democrats mirage in Georgia, which makes sense because the early vote count of many people who voted early was around 3 million. So what kind of, we'll be seeing a mirage, so do not be worried. If we see a mirage for the Republican Party and the Democrats are pretty competitive and they didn't count the early votes, then you can guarantee that the Democrats will win. So let's see. Spears and Angels, tell me, will we see a Republican mirage in Georgia? Give me 3 cards. Will we see a Republican mirage in Georgia Senate race in 2021? And that basically means that it appears to look red, but it's not as red as we think it is. All right, what about the Democrats? Will we see a Democratic mirage? Interesting mix of cards here. So for the Republican Party, we have my Democrat card. Then for the Democrat then for the Democrats mirage, we have the Republican Party. And so no matter how you look at it, it looks like it's going to be quite the fight. It's going to be pretty competitive. We have here the Republican Party is going to be searching for votes. Then for the Democrats, it's a death, a rechange, a change, an alteration of how things used to be in the state of Georgia. So this is quite interesting to see, to say the least. So it does tell me here as if it looks like the Democrats will end up having the early vote. It will be like, all right, so if the Democrats come in, it's funny how this is Republican, but it came out Democrat. But it looks for me that the Democrats will be coming in. They're going to be trying to find votes, and it's going to be quite hard for them to push if there is a red mirage. Now, for the blue mirage, we do have here the death, which is falls underneath the Democrats. I mean, there will be a change for the Republican Party, and they're going to have to fight for their seat. And this is the blue mirage. So whatever we see on election night tonight, actually, will determine who will win the Senate. Now let's look at the next one. How does Donald Trump tape affect the race in Georgia? So let's just take a quick look at that. Let's get an idea of what's going on. All right, Spears and Angels, tell me, how did Trump tape or leak tape of his phone call with the Secretary of State of Georgia, trying to tell him to find 11,000 votes to flip the state of Georgia red? Okay. Here's Trump. This is what Trump thinks. He thinks he won. This is him. It's 11-11 for anyone who's looking at that. Okay, so Spears and Angels. What do we need to know? Okay. How does Donald Trump affect the race when it comes to his scandal, the Trump scandal with the leaked tapes? All right, so it's quite a good mix of cards here. We have Donald Trump at the center of the entire reading. On the left side, we have here a lot of people are upset about the election. So this is the Republican Party. It's gonna hurt the Republican senators. On the right side, we have the Democrats, the presidency, right? The Senate. In time to happen, this information was supposed to be revealed. Well, we do have the heart, the betrayal. And what that's basically telling me here is that there's going to be a change. It is going to affect the race, and it's going to flip three demographic that voted for Donald Trump by large margins. At least some people. It's going to at least change the race by 3%. That's enough to go in the Democrat Party's favor. And here we have predictability. It is pretty predictable at this point who will win. And, at one point, the Republican Party, when I was doing readings, it showed that they were going to win by a very competitive margin. Now, and almost every reading I have done in Georgia Senate race has always been blue, except one time. So it looks like it's going to hold for the Democrats. All right, let's look at the next question. How do Republican candidates going to fare for Donald Trump's leaked tape? All right, so how are Democrats going to fare with Donald Trump's leaked tape? Will they do better? Let's take a look at that. Okay, so quite funny enough, actually. It looks like it may be going blue. So here as well, we do have the moon for the Republican Party. It does affect, we don't know exactly the change in votes. It looks like to me when I first saw this card that a lot of these Republican voters already had their mind up, or they already know who they're going to vote for. However, some of them are starting to reevaluate if they really want to vote for a Republican candidate. And you see here, at least 1%. 1% is going to make the difference. And we do have here as well, we do have the world. And basically what that tells me is that this is going to put Georgia on the map. It's going to make it the center of a lot of places around the world. So it does look like as if the Republican Party are going to struggle when it comes to being able to perform the way they used to, especially Kelly Loeffler. Then here we have for the Democrats, how the Democrats are going to fare with the leaked tape. It gets them to a point where they're able to stay competitive within the race and be able to win the Senate seat. It fires up the Democratic base within Georgia to go fight. A lot of people are very unhappy that their vote was considered illegitimate because Donald Trump didn't win the state. And here we have, in the future, we have my Biden card. This is my Biden victory card. And what it tells me is that it looks like to me, this is going to be the moment when the Republican Party and the Republican candidates knew that they lost the race, the Senate race, and they lost the Senate. So let's look at the very next question. So will Trump people go out and vote? Do they trust the democratic system enough to vote? And this is a really important question to talk about, because if the the Trumpers don't come out and vote, that means that the Democrats will win by have an easier time at winning. If the Trumpers do come out and vote, they're going to struggle a little bit. So let's see. Will the Trumpers come out and vote in the 2021 election? Spirits and angels, tell me, will the Trumpers go out and vote? Here we have Georgia. We have Georgia again. Will the Trumpers go out and vote? Spirits and angels. All right. Interested enough. So here we have on the left, they voted for Donald Trump because he was the head of government. He was on the ballot. Now they're not on the Republican Party. Donald Trump is not on the ballot, which means that the Republican Party are going to struggle quite a bit from this. They don't trust the polling. They think the Democrats won the state of Georgia wrongfully, but a lot of them also believe that, at least a small percentage of them believe that Joe Biden actually won the state of Georgia. And he is the new incumbent. So it feels as if that a lot of these people are starting to get into their head a little bit that Donald Trump is actually the one trying to steal the election, not Joe Biden. And so that's quite interesting to see how that's going to play out in the Senate race. Now let's just take a look at this. How will the cities, suburbs, and rural areas vote for each party? So spirits and angels, tell me. Give me one card for the Republican Party when it comes to the city. How would they be voting in the Georgia Senate race in 2021? Okay. What about the Democrats for the city? Okay. So the challenge for the Democrats is sideways for the city. What about the suburbs for the Republican Party in Georgia? How would they be voting in the 2021 Senate race? Okay. What about the suburbs for the Democratic Party? How would they be voting for the Georgia Senate race in 2021? Okay. What about the rural areas for the Republican Party in 2021 Senate race? What do we need to know about that? Okay. What about the Democratic Party for the rural areas in Georgia 2021 Senate race? Do we have a card for that? Okay. Interesting mix here. So for the city, okay. So we have here for the Republican Party, they're going to be betrayed by the city of Atlanta and a lot of other cities within the state of Georgia as well. So this is a betrayal card. So it does appear as if the Republican Party is not going to do as well as they used to do in the cities, which means that the Democrats are going to do a lot better in the cities. Here we have the bigger challenge of the Tower card. Big change is about to happen, which is why it's sideways. It's a challenge for the Republican Party to overcome this large and numerous amount of support. Now, this can also refer to voter suppression as well. So don't be surprised if there will be voter suppression in the state of Georgia. Now, for the suburbs for the Republican Party, this is sideways, which tells me that they may be competitive, but they also may not. And it looks like it's this big challenge for the Republican Party to be competitive or mildly competitive in the suburbs of Georgia. Now, for the Democratic Party, a lot of the suburbs are going to flip for the Democrats, flip even more than they did for Joe Biden. So don't be surprised, there are a lot more counties turn blue in the 2021 Senate election. Then here we have for the rural area, rural support, the Republican Party is going to do phenomenally well. They have all the support they need. This is where most of their votes are going to come from. It's going to come from the rural areas. Then for the Democrats, we have the Hierophant. What tells me here is that there are going to be some people who are going to flip and change their mind, but it does appear as if the Republican Party are going to change. A lot of people who have voted for Joe Biden or mildly Republican, so to speak, will end up going for the Republican Party. So the Republican may improve their margin in the rural areas, while the suburb and the city improve their margin for the Democrats, which increases the divide within the country. So let's just, speaking on that, now let's talk about how big of the margin will Atlanta vote for. The city of Atlanta vote for the Democrats, because that's important. That's what led Joe Biden to win his victory in the 2020 election, where he was the first Democrat to carry the state of Georgia since Bill Clinton in the 1990s. So let's just take a quick look at this. Because if he can improve the margin, both Democratic candidates can improve the margin, that's a good thing. So let's take a look. So Spirits and Angels tell me, does this mean that the Democrats maintain or improve the margin that Joe Biden got in the Atlantic suburbs? Okay. All right, so because it's self-explanatory here, I think this is a very quick one. We have here the manufacturer. They're telling me this is normally my other Republican card, like a young Republican. It's reversed. What tells me is that they used to vote a little bit more in favor of the Republican Party, but not so much anymore. Right now, we have Joe Biden. Right now, they voted for Joe Biden on the 2020 election. So Georgia went blue for the very first time. Now we see here on the right, it's going to be revealed, and it does feel like the Joe Biden is going to be the one to help pull some strings in the state of Georgia for a lot of the Democratic candidates, and so will Kamala Harris as well, and it will make the state competitive. And there's going to be a balance within the Senate. And here's the victory. It's going to be quite a little bit of a stalemate there, though, but it will be a stalemate. The two senators leave. It's going to be found out there's been some bribery going on, stealing votes. and it looked like the Democrats end up winning. It looked like the Democrats end up taking control of the Senate. My entire reading has been shown us so far. It looks like it's the same exact way. Now, for the question that we need to be asking now, in the 2020 election, Jon Ossoff got less votes than Joe Biden did. And so I want to ask, will Warnock's and Jon Ossoff, will they get the same voters to vote for them? Because that's important. If they can maintain the same level of support among the Democratic people who are voting for the Democrats, that's amazing. That means if one of them wins, the other one's guaranteed to win as well. So spirits and angels tell me. Okay. Well, both Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock have the same voters. Will they have the same voters? Okay. It looks like it's going to be quite. It looks like it's a possibility, but it doesn't look like it will be. Because we do have here quite of a foolish thinking in the past. Now we have here the Republican Party reverse, which tells me that a lot of these Republicans are unhappy with the way things are in Georgia. Here we have is the King of Pentacles, right? A lot of people are deciding whether or not they want to vote for one candidate or another. However, some of them will end up giving their votes to the New Democrats, the New Democratic Party, and they're currently already voted. They look like they're gonna vote or they're currently voted, and this will be within divine timing to do stuff. So it does look like some of them will end up being the same voters twice, which is actually astonishing. So that's a good thing for the Democratic Party. All right. So how did Georgian voters feel after the Trump rally when the recording was leaked? So basically, what that means was Donald Trump came to Georgia after the recording has been released to the public, that Donald Trump has bribed the Secretary of State in Georgia to flip the race from a Joe Biden victory to a Donald Trump victory just by one vote. So I want to see how the Georgians are feeling in the state of Georgia. How is Georgian feeling, spirits and angels? Tell me. How are a lot of Georgians feeling about this? What do we need to know? How are a lot of Georgians feeling with all this information being leaked? And about Donald Trump saying he's trying to illegitimize the registered voters who voted for Joe Biden. Okay, so it does feel like as if a lot of them, they were ignorant and they refused to vote for the Democratic Party in the 2020 election. This was the way they used to vote. Now they have the Queen of Cups. They're thinking about what to do. They put a lid on it. This is enough is enough. It's what they're saying in Georgia. Enough is enough. And here we have a lot of Georgians feel restricted, especially the Trumpers. They don't know if they should go out and vote. Is this a message for me to vote? Should I vote? Should I trust the process? And also for the Democrats, they feel very restricted as well. However, they're going to come out and vote because they don't want to feel like that anymore. It's a big loss for a lot of Georgians, and it's going to be pretty good for the Democratic Party. It looks like, for me, it looks like the Democrats and the Georgians are looking to the future. They want to see, well, what happened if we elected Democrats back into Georgia? How good can it be for Georgia? And that's what the question that a lot of Georgians are asking right now. All right, so let's look at this. How many people will vote in Georgia? So let's take a look with that with my Uno cards. Let's see. Spirits and angels tell me how many people will vote in Georgia when the results are all final. How many people will be voting in the state of Georgia when it comes to the 2021 Senate race? All right, so we have here, it's going to be quite interesting to see. It looks like as if, if this is the Democrats here, it'll be 1,080,800 and, 1.8 for the million for the Democrats, and it looks here for the Republican Party, they lose about 400,000 votes, which means that goes to the Democratic Party. And it's a wild card, because if you look here, it's +2, and it's for the challenge for the Republicans, right? The 2 Senate races. It's a wild card. There are going to be some wild people who are unexpected that weren't caught in the radar. Here we have, the reason why I say that, there's a flip. And then we have the 4 reverse, which means that at least 4% change from the Republican Party to the Democrats, or it could also mean that 400,000 people vote in favor of the Democrats. So it's quite interesting to see the 18 could also represent that the Democrats up 4, the Republicans lost 8. So this is quite interesting to see how everything plays out in terms of how many people go and vote. So let's just see what that numbers may mean after election night. Now let's look at this. How long will it take? How long will it take to count? Because that's a really important question, Beers and Angel, because they look like they're going to contest it. So how long will it take for Georgia to count the adults? How long will it take the state of Georgia to count all the adults? Okay, so it looked as if we're not going to get all of the adults or all the information on election night tonight. It looks like there's going to be some trouble with the Republican Party. There's going to be some trouble. There's some signals for the Republican Party that they look like they're going to end up losing. And here we have, they're going to be very upset, and they're going to refuse to accept the election results. So I want to ask with this, actually. It's actually funny how this is all organized. How would they contest the results? So it looks like the Republicans are going to contest the results. So let's see, will they be successful? Will a Republican candidate contest the results in Georgia's 2021 Senate race? Will they contest the results if they lose? Will the Republican... Okay. Here we have here... It looks like they're ignorant. They're not going to believe that they lost by a large margin. And here we have the media. So a lot of people want to be upset watching this on the media that this is what the Republican candidates are doing. Here we have, it looks like the Democrats ride to victory. This is my Jamie Harrison card as well. This is my Jamie Harrison. This is election. So it looks like the Democrats end up cruising to victory anyway. So it looks like they will end up contesting. So if I can safely say one thing and one thing only, it does feel to me that this looks like that the Democrats flipped the Senate. And this will be the first time that they have control of the Senate since Barack Obama has been president of the United States. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more content such as this. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Let me know if you guys like this setup. And see you guys in the next video. I love you and have a very wonderful night. Bye.